evening, everyone. Yeah. So, good evening. Um, this is already 8 o'clock, and we need to start the class. And by the grace of God, I think I can see 2 participants in. So, I'm expecting others to join. So, Israel, how was your day? Israel, how was your day? Emmanuel, how was your day?
My day is good, sir. Thank you, sir. How about you, sir?
It was okay, sir.
We thank God. Eniola, how are you? I think Eniola is in. Eniola, how are you? Okay, so we want to start the very last class, and that is the business organization. Business organization. So I'm sharing the slides with you now. I believe you can see it. I believe you can see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's look at the slide 2. The meaning of business organization. Business organization is the legal structure of a business, and it also defines ownership, control, and liability. Now, business organizations, if you look at the picture there, you can see is a combination of different people coming together to think along the sense of business, conducting a business to achieve a goal and to make profits or to satisfy customers' needs and so on. So apart from profit making, there are other purposes of engaging in business. So the whole essence of this topic to you as QS is just for you to understand the nature of business and the type of business organization that you can engage yourself in. All right, so we want to move on to the next slide. It says, why business organization matters. Why business organization matters. Business organizations help us to determine who actually bears business risk. Don't forget that business is full of risk. So you look for the person that bears risk, that bears the risk. That person, should it be the one that contributes the capital? Then you begin to also look at how to assess capital. How do we get capital to run the business? And you can see that there are people in that picture showing that they are brainstorming. What they are doing there is brainstorming. Then you can also say that business organizations influences decision-making efficiency. How efficient is decision-making? How efficient is your decision-making, either individually or collectively? Now, business organization is also important in order to, it's important for professional accountability. Professional accountability. Now, let's move to the main topic, which is the types of business organizations. Types of business organizations. We have sole proprietorship, we have partnership, we have limited liability companies, we have cooperative society, we have public sector enterprises, and then lastly we have joint ventures. Joint ventures. Then we will move on to look at the first topic, which is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. So a sole proprietorship business, otherwise called sole trade business or sole trader, is owned and controlled by one person. One person owns and controls the business, and it has unlimited liability. From your mom. It has unlimited liability. When we talk about unlimited liability, we are talking about the fact that the debt of a business is subject to not only the amount of capital contributed by the owners of the company. What does that mean? Supposing a business discover that, oh, we have debts that we have incurred, and if the amount of capital contributed or the amount of assets owned by the business cannot pay up the debt, cannot offset the debt, then the personal properties of the sole trader will also be used to offset that business. That means the liability of that business is unlimited. That means the liability of that business is not limited to the amount of capital they contribute. And that's one of the major disadvantages of sole trade business. But one of the advantages is that it is very easy to establish. And when you say it's easy to establish, it means that it does not require government regulations. It does not require serious registration procedures. So, and it's very common among contractors. You have some private contractors who are sole proprietors. That means they own their construction company, they own their engineering firm, they own their business. So the success of the business or the otherwise the failure is in their hands. Then another advantage is that the owner enjoys and makes business decisions alone. He contributes the capital alone and he bears the risk alone. So the owner enjoys all the profits. Maybe I should let me correct that in the system. The owner enjoys all the profits, all the business profits, then he makes all the business decisions, and he also contributes the capital. He also bears the risk alone. So this point is full of both advantage and disadvantages. You know, when he enjoys the profit alone, fantastic. He makes all the business decision alone, disadvantage. Oh, he contributes all the capital alone, disadvantage. He bears all the risk alone, disadvantage. So he has some disadvantages and advantages. All right, now let's move on to the partnership business. The partnership business. One of the characteristics of the partnership business is that it is owned by 2 to 20 persons. In the case of banks, it is 10 partners. So 2 to 20 partners, where 2 or 3 comes together to form a business, it is called partnership business. And in partnership business, there is sharing of profits and losses. So the partners will agree based on the partnership deed how they want to share profits and losses. Another disadvantage of partnership business is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. That means just like you have for proprietorship business, for partnership business, the debt that is owned by the business is not limited to the amount of capital contributed, but also their personal properties can be sold in order to offset those debts. Then, this one is common in consultancy firms. Partnership business is common in consultancy firms. Then the operation is guided by the deed of partnership. So if you look at that picture, you see that the sole proprietorship is a one-man business. Partnership, you have about 2, 3 coming together, thinking together, rubbing minds together in order to bring about results. Now, what are the contents of the partnership deed? The contents of the partnership deed. The partnership deed is a document, is a business document that controls the operations or modus operandi of a business. Look at the headline there. It says, while there are no set guidelines for creating partnership deed, a standard deed usually includes the clauses listed below. 1, the name of the firm. 2, the name and details of all partners. 3, the date of commencement of the business. 4, the duration of the firm's existence. That means how long the business will last. 5, capital contributed by each partner. 6, rights, duties, obligations, and power of each partner. And 7, how profit and loss will be shared. 8, the interest on capital that is payable to which partner. The interest on capital payable to the partners. Then the extent of borrowings by any partner. So to what extent can any of the partner borrow money from the business? And the last point there, the procedures followed in case of dispute. When dispute arises between the partners, and this dispute might lead to dissolution of partnership and so on, then how can they admit new partners if they want to admit new partners? And how can someone cease not to be a partner? All these can be contained in the partnership deed. So the partnership deed is like a constitution that guides the operation of the business, just like we have the Bible as the manual for the Christians, and we have the Quran as the manual for the Muslim faithfuls. Now let's look forward to limited liability company, LLC. Now, limited liability company, we have 2 types. We have the private limited liability company and the public limited liability company. Now, one common factor between the two is that both of them enjoys legal entity. That means both of them have separate legal entity. What does that mean? That means that the management of the business is different from the ownership of the business. Unlike sole proprietorship and partnership, where there is no legal entity, that means if there is a suit, a lawsuit, the business owner is the same as the business itself in the case of partnership or sole proprietorship. But for limited liability company, the business owners, who are called shareholders, are not the same as the management or the managers of the company. The managers of the company are called the board of directors, while the owners of the company are shareholders. So in the case of private limited liability company, the minimum is 2 and the maximum shareholders is 50. While that of public limited liability company, there is no number of maximum shareholders. That means you can have 1,000, 10,000, 1 million, 1 trillion shareholders, as long as it is a public limited liability company. And the public limited liability company is equally called quoted company. And most times, if you want to identify the public limited liability company, it ends with the acronym PLC, Public Limited Company. But if it ends with the acronym LTD, that means it's a private limited liability company, and it is not bound by law to declare their books of accounts at the end of the year. But for quoted companies on the stock exchange market, they must declare their books of accounts at the end of the year, and they can also admit more shareholders. That means they can raise money, they can raise capital, they can raise funds on the floor of the stock exchange market any day, anytime. But for private limited liability company, they cannot raise beyond the authorized shareholders or the authorized shares, which is limited to the 50 shareholders benchmark. Now, one common factor again that cuts across both private and public limited liability company is the word limited liability. Limited liability. What do you mean by limited liability? We are saying here that the debt, D-E-B-T, debt is not debt, is debt. The debt of a business is limited to the amount of capital contributed by the shareholders. What that means is that no shareholder can suffer beyond the amount he has contributed by the number of shares he owns, even if the debt is beyond the worth of the business. And that's why it's called a limited liability company. So what's it called now? The shareholders do not suffer on limited liability. That means the shareholders do not forfeit their personal assets, even in the course of doing business. Then we can also talk about the registration procedure. The registration procedure. Now, for limited liability company, it is registered under the Company and Allied Matters Act, which we call CAMA. Either private or public, it is registered. And there are certain documents that must accompany that registration. Some of them, I listed them here: certificate of incorporation, memorandum of association, prospectus, certificate of trading, and so on and so forth. All this one is bound that it must be available for any registered LLC. But for sole proprietorship and partnership, there may not be any regulation that they must have all this, apart from certificates of incorporation. All right. Now, the public LLC, as I said earlier, they are mandated under the law to publish their books of accounts annually. So let's move on. I have a quiz here that I would like you to look at, and that's on slide what slide is this? I think slide 6. Now, it said, with practical examples, vividly explain 5 differences and 3 similarities between sole trader and partnership business. Oh, okay. I think I didn't finish this quiz. Let me try and adjust it. With practical example, explain 5 differences between public limited liability company and private limited liability company. And then 3 similarities between a sole trader and a partnership business in Nigeria. So if you look at that, if you look at what we have been discussing since, you should be able to bring out some differences. And then when you look at that image beside it, you can also bring out some differences. You see a sole trader carrying all the burden of the business on his shoulder. You see the next one, the partnership business, a man and a woman exchanging hands and talking together. That shows that they are making joint and better decisions, and they are exchanging ideas, and they are also likely to jointly contribute the capital. But when you talk about the private limited liability company, it's a private company that has shareholders, but the shareholders are limited to not more than 50. But when you look at the public limited liability company, you can see that that one looks like a pyramid or a circle that has different segments in it. So different shareholders, different ideas, different background. You have red, yellow, you have red, you have blue, you have green. Everybody coming together as long as it is towards the purpose of business. Okay, so let's move on. So you're going to do that one, and maybe when I open the platform for discussion, you can make your points, or you can do it on your LMS and send to me. The cooperative society, that's another business organization. Now, what are the characteristics of cooperative society? Number 1, voluntary association. It is owned by members. It promotes mutual benefit of members. It is operated as non-profit making organization, but have welfare concern in mind, and it is common in housing projects. Now, what are the types of cooperative societies? We have agri-cooperative, housing cooperative, commerce cooperative, multi-purpose cooperative. And these different types have their different purposes. Now, let's look at public corporations. Public corporations. Public corporations have to do with government-owned companies or government-owned public enterprises. What are the features? It is created by special act of parliament, separate legal status, capital is provided by the government, government appoints the board of directors, autonomy and flexibility in internal operations as the case may be, and it is accountable to the public. Examples, we have the PACN, Power Holding Company of Nigeria. We have the NNPC, Nigerian National Petroleum Company. We have the NRC, Nigerian Railway Corporation. We have the Lagos Water Corporation, and we have the Ogun State Water Corporation, and different state corporations. So these ones, the Water Corporation of Lagos State is owned by Lagos State government, that of Ogun State is owned by Ogun State government. But those are the characteristics. Then we have the joint venture. The joint venture looks at the coming together of 2-3 people is just like a special kind of partnership. But in joint venture, you can have 2 companies come together to form an umbrella body. You have sister company, which you call subsidiaries. Then you have a parent body, which you call the holding company. And then this will bring about what we call the joint venture business. And it has its own problem because of bureaucracy of management. It has a problem of complexity of organization structure, and so on and so forth. Then the summary of the public enterprises, you have that in the slide, because I want us to use the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes to discuss in general before we close. So sole proprietorship is a one owner business, easy to start, unlimited liability, owners keep the profits, and owners bears the loss and takes the risk and takes the decision. For partnership, 2 to 20 owners, and as the case may be, 50 professionals, shared profit and loss. Partnership deed is in existence, and it is mostly unlimited liability in nature. Private LLC, we have that one having the acronym at the back, LTD. So some banks are like that. Okay. Then it has separate legal entity, limited liability, restricted share transfer, and CAC registered. Now, the public limited liability company, this one, it has share offer to the public, limited liability, larger capital, and is highly regulated. And they also publish their books at the end of the year. Cooperative society, the member is owned by members with 1 vote, 1 member principle of election. It is voluntary membership, and they have a mutual interest, or what you call mutual benefit. And whatever surplus they get at the end of business, it is shared mutually based on the size of dividends or the size of funds that one has saved in the cooperative. Public corporation, government owned, public service focused, and is funded by public revenue. So this is the summary of business organization. It's just a 30 minutes presentation. So I'm going to allow us to use the next 10 minutes to ask questions either on this topic or on the remaining topics that we've done so far, so that this will be the end of the online class, and then we can now warm up for the contact section, which I might just have 1 with you or 2, just for us to tidy up the loose ends when it comes to understanding or interpretation of what you have learned. All right, so thank you very much. The floor is open now for us to discuss. This is 8:30, so we have about 10 minutes because we are using the trial version. So over to you. You can ask questions. So far, I think I have 8 participants in this meeting. So you have the floor. Emmanuel, first, Israel, Eniola, all of us, you have the floor now. You can ask. You have the floor. You can ask your questions. Yes, you have the floor. You can ask your questions. Any question from this topic or the previous one? Emmanuel.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I think
Yes, sir.
I want to hear Emmanuel. You sent me something and I don't know the meaning. I've told you to stop sending message without completing your message. So what's the message all about? Oh yeah, talk to the class, please.
Was it this just this evening?
I said you sent a message to me just before the class or during the class. I just saw it on my WhatsApp. So what's the message?
Okay, it's a draft timetable
And so what should I do with the exam?
for exam.
What should I do with the timetable now?
I was meant to give it to everyone, both students and lecturers.
You are supposed to tell me what you want to tell me, not give me what. Am I the one writing the exam? What time are you having the exam? Give me details. When are you having the paper? Simple, not that you send me
So
timetable.
that's the thing. The timetable is not finished. That's why it's draft. They don't draft on it. The date has not been fixed. So
And so what should I now do with that information? Date has not been fixed, so what should I do?
really, no, the paper is on the second day of exam.
Okay, when you are ready,
And
you give me your specifics. I think I prefer that, not sending me blanket timetable. So when you are ready, let me know when the exam. So when is the exam? Because I can't get any facts from what you're saying. When is the exam?
in February.
When is the exam? February what? When is the exam?
We don't know the date in February. We just know it's in February. That's what they told us.
Okay, oh, it's over to you to find out that and let me have specifics. Okay, no problem. Any questions so far? Yes, Eniola, I think you want to ask a question. Eniola, I think you want to ask a question, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. My question is about the partnership deed. I don't know if you could explain more because I could not get the explanation very well.
Okay, I think I can just quickly flip through again to that deed. I said this is like a constitution that governs the business, the partnership business. It's a document that shows the modus operandi, how the business will operate. So it contains the details. Some of them are listed in that slide, about 10 of them. I said, while there are no set guidelines for creating a partnership deed, a standard deed usually includes the clauses listed below: the name of the firm, the name and details of all partners, the date of commencement. All these things are just to guide the partners. You know, it's not one person. So it's important that there must be guideline. What do we want to call the name? I might say I want the name to be XYZ and Co. Another person might say ZYX and Co. Another person might say YXZ and Co. So we need to agree as partners that what name do we want to call our partnership business. Then when you also agree that who and who are going to be partners. In fact, there are three different kinds of partners. We have active partner, we have dormant partner, we have passive partner. So who and who will be active partners? Those are the ones that run the business itself. The nominal partner is somebody that just contributes his name. Maybe his name has a good network, so net worth. So such a person can say, oh, I'm not contributing capital, but you can put my name so that people can recognize that company. For instance, if you say Gani Fawemi and Co., people that knows Gani Fawemi will say, oh, this company is a credible company. So that kind of person is a nominal partner. Some people can be a dormant partner. That means they don't want to be seen and they don't want to probably be heard, but they want to work from the background. So such a person can be called a dormant partner, but it's still a partner. Then you have the duration of the firm's existence, the rights, duties, obligation, and power of each partner. That one is very, very important. Likewise, number 7, the profit and loss sharing ratio. How do we want to share the profit? How do we want to give interest on capital? How do we want to allow people to borrow, and so on and so forth? So that's what I said earlier. I don't know whether Benson, you have gotten that point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've gotten the point, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So we
Yes,
still have the possibility of having further materials when we resume. So if you have need for it, you can approach me by then. All right. Any other question? Israel, is there any other question? Yeah.
Sir, I wanted to ask, is it possible for a particular person to open 2 businesses and be a partner in the 2, like 2 businesses in the same line of work, and is partner in the both of them?
It's possible, as long as your deed of partner can address it. You can be a partner. In fact, we have a lot of people that are members of different boards of different companies. Somebody is a board director and somebody is a member of another board. Somebody is another member of another school board. So it's possible, and these people are directors and they are the managers of those businesses, and the businesses are different. And it's also possible to have partners in similar businesses or even non-similar businesses, as long as your deed of partners have addressed it. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question? We are rounding up. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, so in the absence of no other question, by the time you resume for physical lectures, you let me know so that we can have at least one revision class before the exam. So on this note, I want to wish every one of you a very good luck in the forthcoming exam. Please go through the slides and try and get additional materials so that you can also be able to add more knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank God.
Sir,
Yeah.
some of the
Be fast, so we have less than 1 minute.
sir, some of the notes, most of the words are not correct. Like maybe when we go back to the elements to watch, some are always blur. Sir.
Yes, because some of them are by image. Like this very one you are seeing is an image. So if it's blurred, you can get a clearer view if you just go to Google. You can see some of them on Google Images. I just screened it and I put it on PowerPoint. So, but
sir.
you can get a clearer view on Google Images.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so thank you everyone and good night.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, sir.
I do stop.